Good day folks, my name is Sean and this is Air Photography. Today we're going to go over one thing you can do to make your GoPro footage look better, and that is setting your white balance. If you're new to GoPros and you're just learning how to use it, perhaps you got one over the holiday season, and now that we're heading into summer you're going to start capturing some of your adventures. Setting the white balance can really improve your GoPro footage. Now myself, quite often if I'm just capturing something quickly, I'll just leave it in auto, and usually for the most part it does a good enough job. But I'm going to show you why setting your white balance manually instead of leaving it in auto can be very important. On a GoPro here you can set your Kelvin level or white balance all the way down to 2300 Kelvin and all the way up to 6500 Kelvin. The lower the Kelvin value, the cooler the image will look, and the higher the Kelvin level, the warmer the image will look. So what can happen if you leave your white balance on auto? As the environment you're filming in changes, if it's a cloudy day and the sun goes behind the cloud, the white balance and the color that the GoPro will pick up can change quite dramatically in a matter of seconds, and it can be quite prevalent in your videos. For example, this first video I'm going to show you here, this is a hyperlapse, and you're going to see here throughout the hyperlapse as we're going through this forest, the GoPro automatically adjusts the white balance, and it's very prevalent on screen. So let's go ahead and we'll just play that now for you. So that was pretty dramatic. You can see the color shifted there quite a bit. And I'll just kind of scrub through this timeline so you can see it a little bit more in detail. You can see here, and I'm not quite sure if it's because there was an opening in the trees and more sun could get in, or perhaps the sun went behind a cloud. But you can see here it's very cool, and then we get to this spot here, and then it really warms up. So that white balance automatically switching back and forth on your GoPro can be quite dramatic, and it can really ruin your footage. This is a nice white balance here. You can see it's a little bit on the warmer side, but because of the fall colors that works well. And that's what the video should have been all the way through. And you can see as we keep going here, the lighting conditions change again. And right about there you can see it cools down. So by setting the white balance, that would have been avoided. Now I'll just show you another quick example here. You can see in this clip we're not even really moving, but you can see the camera moves up here in a second. And then when we come back down, you can see that the color temperature has changed. And that was just by pointing up at the sky, and it automatically adjusted it. So I'll just scrub through that again. You can see it's very cool. We point the camera upwards, it gets warmer, and now the whole image is warm. So again, that's something you really want to avoid with your GoPro. Now, if you're new to GoPros and new to cameras, maybe perhaps adjusting the white balance might be a little bit intimidating for you. It's actually really easy to set. Now, there might be some trial and error for you at the beginning, but once you get going with it, you'll be able to tell by the lighting conditions what your white balance should be set at. So we're going to take a look at how to change the white balance settings on your GoPro. Now, the GoPro interface for changing white balance is pretty basic. It's not very intuitive compared to some cameras. Some cameras make it really easy. They give you presets. So if it's a cloudy day, you just set it to cloudy day. If you're indoors, you can set it to indoors. But with the GoPro, we just have a Kelvin slider. So I'll just kind of show you that here, and then we'll talk about what I use and how I do it. So what we're going to do is go into one of our shooting modes here, and I'm going to select cinematic. And then if we scroll down under Pro Tune, you're going to see we have the option there over on the left-hand side for white balance. If we click on it, you can see we now have a slider, and that's how we can adjust the Kelvin level. Now, one nice thing that GoPro does do here is that it does give you a live preview as you change the slider. As you can see here, as I move up, we're up at 6500 Kelvin, and you can see it's quite warm. If we slide it down to 2300 Kelvin, you can see that it is quite cool. In the middle there again, we have our auto, and right below that we have native. You would film in native if you're going to be doing a lot of your own correcting in post, if you want to set your white balance in post. If you don't plan on doing any kind of color grading or color correcting, then it's best not to shoot in native. Now, I'm not a photography person per se. Usually when setting my white balance, there's one of three options that I usually set it at. And that's 5000K, 5500K, and 6000K. Usually for most lighting conditions, I find those work. Now, of course, it is different for every scenario, but you do have that live preview to help you along. For example, right now, if we set it at 4500K, you can see the image there. I'm not quite sure what it looks like on screen, but it's pretty cool. If we set it to 5000, it's still a little cool. But if we go up to 5500, that kind of gives it a more natural look. That's kind of what I'm seeing here in front of me. So that's all I would do without filming. I would usually start around 5500 Kelvin, and depending whether it's overcast or we have full blue skies, I would just adjust it accordingly. Now you can also use that white balance to help enhance your videos. For example, if you're going to be filming at sunset or sunrise, you may want to set a really warm temperature just to enhance the colors. Whether you're filming video or perhaps doing a time-lapse, by setting a warmer temperature like 6000 Kelvin or 6500 Kelvin, it's really going to help some of those sunset tones come out and make your video a little bit more dramatic. On the other hand, if you're filming at night or even in the snow, you might want to have your temperature a little bit cooler than normal, and sometimes it all boils down to personal preference. Some people like a warmer image color, and other people prefer it a little bit cooler. So those were just a few examples of why it's important to set your white balance. If you're brand new to GoPros and you're just starting out, that's one setting you can go in and play with, and that will really help increase the quality of your videos. At the end of the day, it just helps with color consistency and it keeps your colors looking the same throughout your video. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and got some value out of it. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one.